Yowza, I got this book for $5. When did this book come out? Oh, 2007. Hello friends, my name is Emily, I'm the Bi, and here are some books off of my bookshelf. So, one of my favorite booktubers, Kat, Paperback Dreams, at the end of 2019 made a video doing a bunch of stuff, but one of the things she was talking about in the video was she made a 10 books she would like to read in 2020 list. So here is mine. These are the 10 books that I would like to have included in the 35 new books I read during 2020. I'm hoping that number is higher than 35, but if these are 10 of them, I will be pleased. If these are like 5 of them, I will be pleased, honestly, knowing me and my best laid plans. So here they are. I thought I would talk about what the book is actually about and kind of my history with the book, because most of these are books I've had for a long time or books that I've wanted to read for a long time, and I figured 2020 might as well be the goddamn year, right? So these are in no particular order. I kind of scavenged through my bookshelf and pulled them down. First on the top of this pile is Snuff by Chuck Palahniuk. This is a book I've owned forever. My sister read it 1,000 years ago and really liked it. I really like Chuck Palahniuk books. I own almost all of them, and since high school I have been slowly making my way through all of his books in publication order, and it happens to be that Snuff is the next one in publication order where I stopped. You know, most of his books are like pretty short for adult fiction, and I figured I might as well throw one in because I like him as an author. The idea is interesting. I'm very curious where it kind of is going. So Snuff is the story of a porn star who is like trying to do like a record porno. That's what they're called. They're called pornos. Porno where she fucks 600 guys continuously, like back to back to back, which seems so exhausting. And one of them maybe wants to kill her, hence the name Snuff. Cool. Chuck Palahniuk, it's probably super fucked up, but like extremely readable, with the exception of Pygmy, which I've heard is not super readable because of the way he wrote it, and I'm pretty sure in publication order that one's after this, so yay! Next on this pile is Slapstick by Kurt Vonnegut. Kurt Vonnegut is my favorite author of all time. I absolutely love him. I have not read all of his books, but I own all of his novels. Can't wait to get that tattoo I've been promising myself forever. He wrote my favorite book of all time, which is Slaughterhouse-Five. I own probably 4 or 5 copies of it. It's out of control. But I only own 2 copies of Slapstick. I know next to nothing about this book, and honestly I know next to nothing about most Kurt Vonnegut books before I go into them, with the exception of maybe Mother Night, which is one of my favorite Kurt Vonnegut books, but it was one of the only Kurt Vonnegut books I brought with me to LA because I was so sure it was going to be the next one I read, and it's been 2.5 years since I moved to LA and I still haven't read it, so I figured it was about fucking time. The next book that I want to read in 2020 is an oldie, but a goodie. Donna Tartt's The Secret History. I've had this forever. I wanted to read it forever. I'm not reading If We Were Villains until I read this book, so this is actually, of all of these books, numero uno on my list, because fuck, I want to read If We Were Villains. This is about a group of college-age students who are studying classics, and one of them maybe dies, gets murdered probably by them, maybe, you know? Intrigue. Donna Tartt pretension. I'm very excited actually. I wanted to study classics when I was in college, and so no matter how pretentious this is, I feel like I will love it, so that's just who I am. I just need to actually fucking read it. Next up, I have probably 2 film-related books. I have a bunch of film books back here that I've read parts of or have never really cracked into, and one of my reading goals in 2020 is to crack into and finish more of the books about film that I have, because it's really weird that I have just been collecting books about film and not reading them. Although I guess I do that with a lot of books, film or otherwise. So the first of those is As If, which is an oral history of Clueless. Clueless is one of my favorite movies, top 5, absolutely amazing. My boyfriend bought this for me for, I think, my birthday, the year we started dating. I've had it forever. I've been wanting to read it forever. So I'm gonna do that this year. The next book is Pride/Prejudice. So I love Pride and Prejudice as a story, and I bought this when I was still in college. I can't remember if I bought it before or after I took the Pride and Prejudice adaptations class, but it fits into that, you know? And it is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice, but gay, or more queer, where both Darcy and Elizabeth are bisexual, I think, or queer in some way. Very exciting. I'm literally so stoked about this. I have never been so excited and yet haven't read it yet. Who am I? So I would like to finally fucking read this book this year. I think it'll go by really fast. I'm not sure if it's more Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, but with like gay instead of zombies, or if it's kind of reformatted and reimagining the story. I'm very interested to find out which it is, and I will report back. Next up is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I've been wanting to read this and this whole series for a while. I've heard that the plot is kind of lacking in this, but it's very like character driven, or at least the plot is very slow. And you know what? I don't give a fuck. Give me them queer ass characters in space. That's all I want, and that's what this is. So I'm excited. I will report back. I have the third one on accident, and I still need to get the second one. So I'm hoping that I like this first one enough that it makes me want to get the second one, and then me having gotten the third one won't be in vain. I got the third one first. I think Megan bought it for me. We were all fools. We were all fools. Okay, so this book is extremely old. It is from 2007. It is from Disney, which I think is wild. Every time I see it and I see Disney on the spine, I think it's insane that it came from Disney. But it is Perry Moore's Hero. I've had this since high school. It came out in 2007. It is a Disney Hyperion book, and it is gay superheroes. And I think it's like nemesis to lovers. Like I think he falls in love with a supervillain, or like a supervillain in training, and he's a superhero in training, but also there's tension because his dad is an ex-superhero and like superheroes are outlawed, that kind of thing. I think I know I'm gonna love this. I just need to read it. I've had it forever because it sounds so good, and I think this is the year. Give me gay superheroes or give me death. I'm gonna fucking read Wilder Girls this year. I follow Rory Power on Twitter because Megan loved this book so much, and I bought it pretty instantly. I think she got a like NetGalley copy of it, and I bought it when it officially came out, and I had every intention of reading it, but when I picked it up to read it, I wasn't in the mood to read sci-fi dystopian stuff, and so I didn't actually read it. And this year, I'm going to. It's queer as hell. It's like body horror, Annihilation style, Lovecraftian blah, and that's what I want, okay? I'm fucking gonna read Wilder Girls this year, and you know what? I'm gonna fucking love it. I'm gonna love it. 5 stars. This is gonna be a 5-star read, motherfucker. So, the next book has not been out for that long, and I haven't owned it for that long either, but Megan bought it for me for Christmas, and I've been wanting to read it since I knew that it existed because Emily Nussbaum, the author, I follow her on Twitter, and she's one of my favorite critics. She's a film and television critic, I think mostly in television, which makes sense because it's called I Like to Watch, arguing my way through the TV revolution. She very famously became a TV critic because of Buffy. I quoted her when Megan and I recorded the Buffy and Lost episode of our now over, but you can go and listen to it in its entirety, podcast, Emily and Megan Are Fandom Laureates, link down below. And I just really like Emily Nussbaum. She is poignant, cut straight to the chase, is very funny, and I always, even if I don't agree with her, want to hear what she has to say. And that's kind of how I know that I really like a critic, is even if I don't agree with you either 100% or at all, I still care about your opinion and kind of what your angle on it is, and she definitely falls into that category. This and The Secret History are at the top of my list for books of these 10 that I need to read first. Mostly because Megan wants this, so I gotta crack into it soon. And then finally, and this is a lofty goal. I want to read It this year. I know I need to start like now, like right fucking now. Like I should just be reading it now. I know that I will not find it as satisfying as the first of the two movies, but maybe it will be more satisfying than the second movie. But also it won't be, because nobody is actually canonically gay, even if you can barely tell in the movies. And it's also big. It's so big. There's also the like sex scene in the sewers. Don't do it. And I don't know, but I want to read it. I've read a couple of Stephen King books and short story collections in my life, and I like his writing style. I know my best friend Megan doesn't. She's not a big fan of it, which I totally get. He has a very specific writing style, and it doesn't like mesh well with me, but it's not like I'm not deterred because of it. And that's it. Those are the 10 books that I want to read this year. Those are 10 of the books that I want to read this year, but the 10 off of my bookshelf and that I'm going to prioritize reading this year in some way. Like honestly, it's like what it's less than 12. I could read one a month and still have time to read more books. Although, LOL, it is gonna take probably like 3 months, so I'll read one of these every month and then read it for fucking 3 months at the end of the year. It'll be great.